Hello and welcome to the ILTV News Podcast. I'm Executive Editor Maayan Hoffman and I welcome back our viewers and listeners. I have with me today a special guest. I have with me Naama, or the CEO of SparkIL, and I'm going to let her tell you what it's all about. Welcome, Naama.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, I want to get started with really that basic question. What exactly is SparkIL?
So SparkIL is an organization that is based under the Jewish Agency and the Ogun Group. And what we do is that we help out very small businesses in Israel that don't have access to credit with interest-free loans in order for them to start a business or to grow their businesses. But they need someone to believe in them. They need someone that will give them their first loan or some kind of a loan that will help them breathe, and then they can get a mentor. We'll talk about that later. But the beauty of it is not only do they receive the loan, then they go on a platform, our SparkIL platform, that anyone in Israel and throughout the world can lend any amount to the business of their choice. So it's really the essence of SparkIL is connecting people, of solidarity, of what we call Arvut Adadit and Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Lazeh, is really how can you see another person, learn a little about them, and help them when they need that help, and they will pay back.
So interest-free loans is something, though, that you don't generally see in the finance world, and certainly not when it comes to small businesses. Why did SparkIL choose this particular model?
Well, it came from two different angles, like I said. One is that because we see that these small businesses are the ones that don't really get any credit, and when they do get access, we're talking about double-digit with interest. So if you want to help the economy and help the ones that really need this in the social geographical periphery, everything happened before the war. What happened after, we'll talk in a second. So it wasn't even thinking about, how can we help, IDF for service and vacuums. So first of all, how do we help the ones that no one else sees? And interest-free loans is definitely something that there isn't in the market. We're not here to compete in that market because that wasn't the essence. The essence was, how do we bring together a new way of shared responsibility? How did the Jewish Agency came into this? Because they wanted to see how can they engage the next generation in a new, exciting way. Mm-hmm. Something that had to do with technology, something that had to do with finance, something that has to do with really learning about the person behind who they're giving to and the fact that they can get it back. So it's not a donation, it's a loan. So all these concepts are new, and introducing them all together is part of the work.
Yeah, it's a super innovative project. When did it actually start? When was it founded?
We launched 3 years ago, exactly 3 years ago.
Oh, wow. So really close to before the war started.
Before the war started. Luckily, we had enough time to be on the road before everything grew exponentially. But the idea of SparkIL actually started with Amira Aronovich. She was the CEO of the Jewish Agency. She started this 10 years ago when she was in a Mandel program. And she learned she wanted to do things that had to do with ethical banking and also a new way of connecting Jews to Israel. Then she learned about the model that's called Kiva. Kiva is known in other places in the world that helps with small businesses and people in developing countries. Okay. But we are not a developing country, so people in Israel cannot apply to Kiva for these loans. And the goal was really, how do we bring Kiva to Israel in a way that is relevant for the Jewish people that care about Israel, but for these specific businesses and people that need you to see them.
Incredible. Now, I was reading on your website that you've given out over 40 million shekels and you've supported 500 and some odd businesses. What types of businesses are you seeing the most demand for right now? I mean, I'm assuming that things have slightly shifted. We'll talk more about the war soon, but just in terms of types of businesses, what are you seeing today?
I think the ones we see today, first of all, there are a lot of IDF reservists that are trying to get back on their feet. A lot.
Personally or of their businesses?
Their businesses.
Okay.
They're coming back. They're going back and forth, and their businesses. I mean, they're torn between serving the country and going back for more and more days of reservice and saving their businesses and having their business thrive. And they need someone to help. Some of them are receiving help otherwise, but many aren't. The ones that we see, businesses from the north that are trying to get back and get back on their feet. Very difficult. Also could be these businesses need consumers. And those are the ones that we see mainly if I look through different branches of what kind of businesses. There aren't enough tourists in the country. So think about all the businesses that thrive because of tourism. They are the ones that also need a lot of help now. there was a time that there were a lot of businesses of food and restaurants. Now Israelis are already out there, and there are more tourists coming in. But I think the ones that are neat, what I see most are the ones that really up in the north, a little bit in the south, but idea for service.
Interesting. And when you say up in the north, is that rather than the south? Are you seeing that, you think, because people just haven't returned as much to the north as they have to the south? Are you seeing that people don't travel so far? Because it's interesting to hear that.
Right. First of all, it was the second wave. And also the government came in much earlier with the south. And there isn't enough help to the businesses up in the north. And since it went on longer, people didn't come back. And only now they're starting to come back, and they need more consumers. Some of them haven't been home for almost 2 years. So they're trying to revive their businesses in a way. And also in that same decision, are we coming back? Where are we coming back to? What will it look like? Some of them need to shift their businesses to different ways. Wow. Not easy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's almost 2 years now into this war. When we think about the impact on the small businesses, can you give me some data, some numbers? What are we talking about in terms of loss or loans since October 7th that are needing to be given out to these people and businesses?
So we see what happened in this past year. What we usually see every year, there are about 660,000 micro and small businesses, the ones that we take care of in our realm.
What is the definition? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but of a small business,
right.
Is that how many people?
So it depends on the people. It depends on the revenue.
Okay.
So it can be up to 20 million shekel. We help the micro businesses up to 2 million shekels, the very small ones. Those are the ones that have the most, because they're the higher risk. What's important to say is that even though we're helping out the micro businesses, the smaller ones, the riskier ones, and that's why no one else wants to help them, we've seen over the past 3 years, all our 500 plus businesses are all paying back their loans. We have zero default rate, which is zero. Meaning, and we're surprised by that too.
Yeah.
And yes, we don't approve everyone, but we also don't approve the ones that we know won't be able to pay back, or the ones that just are looking for easy money and they don't have the social aspect that we're looking for. And we want to be sure that we're helping the ones that we're putting on the platform, the one that really need help. But what we see is that every year, even though businesses are thriving, there are more businesses that are opening than closing. Right? The businesses, many businesses, like 30-40%, don't survive the 5 years. Okay? But what we see in these past 2 years, that less businesses are opening, as opposed to they're closing and less businesses are opening. So what we see is that we're going also backwards. And we have to understand these are businesses that are holding the economy. So, many small. They're 97% of the economy are micro and small businesses.
Really, is that true in other countries or just in Israel?
In most countries, that's about the amount, 95 to 97. Mainly in the periphery, that is what their main business is. So, you have to understand also for these businesses and these small businesses, that's their main source of income. This is how they feed their families. So if we don't help them as a society, then these people are going to go also down the road. We have to understand that we have a role also in society to help them, also to help them with a loan, but also in this mutual responsibility that we're working on at Spark.
For sure. So now, from your perspective, what is it that they need mostly right now to survive? I mean, obviously you're giving them money, but are there other things when we talk about here we call it a matefet, or wrapping around the businesses in order to give them some support? What are you seeing that they're saying, okay, I need some money to get me through, maybe to change or pivot, as you said, to take a new direction? And what else is required here in order to help them survive? And then if I can just piggyback on that, you mentioned also that we're kind of going backwards. So how will we change it to go the other direction?
So businesses, first and foremost, need consumers.
Okay.
And I think that that's something that we should all keep in mind, because it's easy to go online and buy from bigger places or from chains or go to a mall. But then we need to remember that the small business around in our neighborhood needs us. So, and that's why there's also an issue of opening back businesses up in the north or opening up places, because they need to be sure that if they'll open, they'll have buyers or consumers. So that's number one, what they need. But they also need guidance. They also need tools. So many things are happening today in the world of AI. How do they, as a small business that they maybe they're by themselves, they employ 1 or 2 or 3 people, they don't have the capacity in order to do so. So what we do, besides helping out these businesses with loans, we also connect them with Keren Shemesh, which is part of Ogen, which is in our realm, is that we help them with mentors. and we help them with courses, and we help them with different experts that can help them thrive and understand not only for their loans, but how to manage their business in a better way, how to bring in AI tools. We just had a 3-time course. It was like, it's very, 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 very subsidized, but it's just for them to understand how they can get back on their feet. How can they now, in these times, be able to be part of what's happening next and someone to talk to, someone to see their budget, someone to see marketing, someone that maybe they need a lawyer. Whatever they need, these businesses need someone to see them. Yeah. And that's what we're helping them out, like you say, the matifet, the whole around, not only helping them out with the loan.
Sure. And then with that next question in terms of then how do we see this turn around? Like, are we having any projections in terms of, okay, we went backwards because of the war maybe for the last year. Will 2026 be better?
Well, it depends who you ask.
Okay. Well, what do you think?
I'm just saying that it depends when this war hopefully will be over.
Okay.
And really what would be the help that people, what's going to happen with the reservists, what's going to be happening really with the help that's coming to the north. Hopefully we won't find us in another, operation like we just had with Iran. We don't know what's coming up, but when you talk to the optimists, they say we're in a year or two we're going to see Israel thriving. Right. So I like to be with the optimists, saying okay, this is going to work out. Hopefully we'll see also many more tourists, because another thing that we help, to your previous question, is that we have lots of groups coming to Israel. And they come and visit the businesses.
Oh, neat.
So we connect groups that come. They can contact us. We do it with the Jewish Agency, but not only, with many youth groups, with any groups, families, whatever that come. They want to visit a business of in the north. Every day's a new immigrant, someone from the reserve, and we connect them in order for them to buy products, in order to maybe they already lent them on the platform, and now they want to come visit the business. We get lots of those. So they want to meet the people in person once they come to Israel. For Israelis, it is mind-boggling so many times to understand that someone from abroad cares about them. They read about them, and they want to meet them. They want to learn what's happening to them. So once a business gets their loan and they get their lenders, every month they pay back their loan. Okay. They have 5 years to pay back their loan. But the micro-lenders receive repayments every month.
Oh, wow.
With that money that comes back, they can lend it to relend to another business and to another business. But not only that, they also get updates. What's happening with that business owner? Oh, I came back from the reserve. Oh, my wife just gave birth to a new son, or I managed. Even though everything is crazy, I managed to multiply my business. Or I'm now I'm continuing to struggle. But what's important is that we continue this engagement, this update, because that is what we're really here for, to create that connection. It's not just the one-time loan to help out with $36 or $500 or you name it. Mm-hmm. It's really to understand who the person is, what are they going through, what else would they need. So many different opportunities.
How do you get this information out to people abroad in the diaspora? If you're sitting, like I'm from Kansas, like if I'm sitting in Kansas and I want to make not anymore, but $36 donation or a $36,000 donation, how do I do that? And how would I even know that this program exists?
So we do many different, there are different paths to get to know. One, of course, is on social media, and many people, on social and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, you name it. Mm-hmm. And then they learn about the platform, they come in it. But what we do many partnerships with federations, with different organizations and Jewish organizations and others. And what we started doing this year, a year plus, is that we created educational toolkits talking about the values behind SparkIL, about what does it mean? This is like a new way of philanthropy. What does it mean, impact lending? What does it mean, the periphery of Israel? What is the value of Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Leze? And with these toolkits, we went into schools. We went into youth groups. We went into college campuses and working with educators in order to bring in the concepts of these values via SparkIL, learning about the real people, and then the kids, the high schoolers, the young adults, the college kids, they're the ones that choose the business here in Israel and connect to. They can receive the money back and relend to another business, but all through the concept of what they're doing. So we work a lot with organizations, with umbrella organizations, with Prisma, with United, with many ones that are with Hillel, in order for them to know about this, to get more and more SparkIL fellows in campuses, SparkIL fellows that do the work in high schools, so many different angles in order to make it happen.
So, no, I have to tell you, first of all, you have like such a spark of your own. And like, I had not met you until today, and you speak as fast as I do, which I think nobody has ever come in and I'm like, just even myself, like, wow, I have to keep up. This is very exciting. And, I've seen sort of what was going on, like a little bit also on social and other things, and started to try to figure out what it was. And then I noticed, part of Ogun, I think I know that organization, and decided to bring you in. But I need to understand, did you always work in this kind of field? Like, give me a little bit of background just about you yourself.
I actually did not work in this kind of field. Everything that's in relevant to finance is very new to me.
Okay.
And exciting, but it was not my field. I worked 17 years in healthcare. I worked in Clalit. I was head of strategy and planning. I was like.
So how did this happen?
And then I moved. 13 years ago, we moved to the States. I grew up as a child in Boston. That's where my accent is from.
Right.
My parents were studying there. And 13 years ago, we moved with my husband and 4 children. I went to Harvard. I went to study a master in public administration. It's a year program, but we stayed for 5. My husband found a job as a CFO in a company in Boston. And then they turned to me. I found me on LinkedIn, an organization called IAC, the Israeli American Council, and they wanted me to open the Boston chapter. It was very, very, very new then. And it kind of drew me, the whole connection of Israel diaspora. I was like, okay, this is something that I relate to. And when I got back to Israel 8 years ago, I understood how Israelis don't understand anything about diaspora Jews. Right. Why are they important? And then I started an organization here connecting with the president's house, the ministry, and I started here an organization. And I also did like a private practice helping out CEOs and people of in the field of the turned out to be different peripheries. So my 2 passions of helping out underserved communities in one hand and Israel diaspora relations kind of came together. So almost 3.5 years ago, I was approached to say, okay, we're launching this organization. Would you come be our CEO? And I had absolutely no idea what it was about. And I said, the first thing I said, okay, what is it? And someone said, it's a fintech. It's a social fintech. And I was like, how? What? And they were right. They said to me, you'll learn the fin, you'll learn the tech. What we need for you is to start an organization, to scale it, to know about Israel diaspora relations, to care about the cause. And it just really, the fit was like you said.
You can see it. It's amazing.
I love what I do. I feel that it's an amazing cause on all parts. Also helping out these people in Israel that need our help, need to be seen, and we hear it again and again. That they say, you don't treat us as numbers in a bank, you see us as people. Because we come back to them, we connect with them, we ask how they are all the time, we connect them with, PR, whatever is needed in groups, but also connecting people to a purpose here in Israel and connecting Israeli society. We work with, in Israel, with companies that have social responsibility, different causes. So many times they're asking how can they do something that's meaningful, and staying in the office, not necessarily going out to the field, which is everything is amazing, but they need also other kind of activities. So what we do with these companies is that they will donate to Spark an amount that we help then and give for each employee, like a gift card. And they are the ones that then lend to the businesses of their choice.
Oh, wow.
So they engage their employees in a way. But that's also having someone in Tel Aviv helping out a small business in Sderot is not something that they would ever know about this person. So they learn about Israeli society, even though they will live here in Rishon or in Tel Aviv or in Yerushalayim. But there are other places in the country that they not necessarily would go. So this is also an opportunity.
So is the platform in Hebrew and English?
It's in Hebrew and in English.
Okay,
yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and the minimum in Hebrew in the Hebrew platform is 50 shekels. So and then the international one is $36. So the purpose was it can be relevant for anyone. We have bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah projects that kids do, and they decide this is what they want to do, and then they raise funds in order to help a small business or some businesses in Israel. So there's so many ways for them to get engaged.
Yeah, it's so different. I mean, this idea of the social engagement along with the financial engagement, and then really it's like, I'm assuming it's an NGO.
It is an NGO.
It is an NGO.
Yeah.
But you're getting the money back. So you're like, I mean, I guess it's kind of not for profit, but like you're making, it's a business plan as well.
There is a business plan. I would say that we are the first and only NGO in Israel that have this. We have a license from the Israel Market Authority, but we're the only one that all the other ones that are peer-to-peer lending are all for profit.
That would make sense.
Yes, it would make sense. So we're still in the process with the government with how do we then become sustainable, but we still raise lots of funds from philanthropy, from the government, from corporates in order to make it, sustainable. There's much more that we still need in order that we give, but we'll get there. We're very, very young.
For sure, yeah. You're brand new, and then the wars, been hitting. I mean, it's also interesting that you're a woman. I mean, I know you said you kind of came from a different world, but to hear women in finance is not so common, and certainly not in this kind of, lending environment that really is the fin and the tech, as you said. So, what has it been like for you in terms of being a woman in this role?
It's funny because most of the people in this role are not women.
Right.
And I will say that for me also, like I said, it was always distant. But when you get close to something and you need to learn about, it just sounds scary. But at the end, it's like any other field that you want to learn. Mm-hmm. I sit today on audit committees. I sit on when you want to get to know something, dive deep, put your focus on it, and then you learn. Yeah. I think I have conversations with other women that are in this field. We need to have many, many more. And I think it's on the agenda, but there's so many things that we need more women to be part of. I would say women CEOs. We need women in finance. We need women in government. We need women in so many other places to take leading roles and not just, to put yourself out there in order for us to see some kind of change.
Are there any particular challenges or maybe benefits actually to your being female that you've encountered over the last few years?
I don't really see myself, I don't take the role of a woman. When I lead this, I feel that you have to be sharp, you have to understand what you're doing. I think the personal relations that we build as women might make a bit of a difference. I think because we're coming into a very male dominant arena. In the beginning, it might be a little. Some might be skeptic, but once you come in, you're very sure of myself and know how to talk. I feel that there's a lot of respect. You gain a lot of respect. So at the end, it's about how you carry yourself in anything that we do is what's relevant, right? So here as well.
For sure. I mean, a lot of what we do here, obviously, in a news agency is tell stories. I'd love to hear from you a story or two about a specific business or individual that has really inspired you or giving you, some hope or...
There's so many. There really are. I mean, I invite anyone that's listening or seeing us to go on the site and to read about these amazing, amazing people. But I can give you, on top of my head, let's talk about Yonatan. Yonatan has done over 600 days of reserve. 600 days. Also, his children are doing are on reserve. He's a widow, and during COVID, he moved to the Golan, and he said he wanted to create a vineyard, and then he wanted to have oil and olives, and then what happened during the war? He got into very, very big debts, and no one was really prepared to help him because he didn't have necessarily enough to show that what happened before. And then he heard about us, and we helped him out with a loan in order for him just to survive and to thrive. He's still now in Khan Yunis. He's not back yet. But he does with his kids. They're all grown-up kids. Each one is on the farm or in the land. They take turns in order to see that everything is still happening. But finally now he sees that he's starting to sell his oil. And his olive oil is amazing. I tried it out as well, and I bought some home, and the kids are, oh, wow, it's amazing too. But this is a story of someone with resilience. I think that what you can understand from the people that we help out is how they believe so much in what they do and in this country, and they are there in order to say, we just need someone to see us and believe in us as well. Mm-hmm. That's one example. I can give an example of we help a lot of new immigrants because they don't have any credit history in the banks, and then they need someone to help them out with a loan. So we have a story of a couple that ran away from Ukraine and they came to Haifa. And they were doing something totally different. And they came here and they opened a candle store up in Haifa that all has to do with Zionism and Judaism. They create some kind of different kind of notes and pictures on the different candles. And they sell, it's called No Dark in Haifa. And they are doing so well. And not only that, we connected them with a friend that also sends out these small businesses that are made in Israel abroad, and now their candles are all over the world. So it's really helping these people that went through so much, came here and are continuing to go so much. And those are like two examples. New immigrants, IDF reservists, I can go on with people in the north and people in the south, but really see themselves as wanting to succeed even though so many hurdles on the way. And that's what we're here for.
And you said that business is called No Dark. What is the name of the olive oil business?
Hanotrim.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, if somebody was sitting and listening abroad to this, most of our viewers and listeners are in North America, and they wanted to try to support the Israeli economy to take part in this, what would you say is the first step for them to be able to start?
Okay. I think it all depends who's listening and what position they hold. If, as a private person, they just go on the site, they can choose a business of their choice and just go on the site, read about the one they wanted, and then lend any amount they want to. It takes 2 minutes. Done. Okay. If they want to do more than that, they can contact us. We're always looking for bigger supporters to help out also on the website. They can find us. They can contact me directly. No problem at all. And the third, if they're sitting on any kind of a position in a synagogue, on a school, on a board, in a Hillel campus, we're always looking for more partnerships in order to bring the content and SparkIL and the stories to their constituents. So if there are any one of those, they can come online and come again to the website or find me on LinkedIn, Nama or Easy, and just connect, and we'll already be there. We'll be in touch in order to see how this can happen, because that's what we do. People reach out. Like I said, we work already now are helping on scale. We did an amazing survey with all the educators that did programs with us in this past year. And it was absolutely incredible to see how they felt. It was easy. It was very engaging for them. It was very engaging for their school, for their kids. Many of them are coming back for second year and soon going to be coming for third year with another class, because we want this to become, part of a ritual. That I'll give you a small example. There was a school, an elementary school in Boston, that the teacher saw that we started with educational toolkits from 7th grade and up. She took the content and created it also from K to 5. Beautiful. And then she brought it to her school. And last October 7th, she said, okay, I want to have an Israeli business come on Zoom and tell us about what's happening with them. And we did so with a beautiful business that they have beehives up in the north, and they teach all about bees and environment. They're amazing, and they're called Bee Green. They went on.
I know them.
You know them? So they're amazing. They really are so sweet. And they also were on reserve, and they needed to allocate from the north, because who knew that missiles also they have a problem with the bees giving honey. Anyway, so the school each class gave to Bee Green. They learned about them. And last week, we sent an update what's happening with Bee Green to all their lenders. They have tens and tens or hundreds of lenders. And then that teacher came back and said, oh, my God, I'm so excited to see what's happening. I'm now sharing it with our school on our newsletter for the kids to know, for the parents to know. It's really a way to engage with someone here that just they wouldn't ever get to them. And it's direct. They know exactly who they're giving to. And that person knows, they can know exactly who gave them, and create that connection. That's like something that we're always looking for in creating that peer-to-peer connection.
Sure. So this is war, as you said, we don't know when it's going to end. It just keeps going, and we keep thinking it will end, and it sounds like it's going to end, but it's not going to end, and we don't really know what's happening. You've only been around for 3 years. It seems like you're doing great things. But, can SparkIL continue if the war doesn't end? How are you? Because there's so many causes people have to give to. It must be hard, since you're philanthropic, to compete in this playing field. Will you have enough to be able to keep these businesses going?
I think first of all, yes. maybe this is the right time to stop and say, let's bring these hostages home and end this war.
Amen.
After the horrific pictures of Evyatar in home these past weekend. It's still a very difficult day to start and to be here and talk about this. Very difficult. And the more people know about this and there's different opportunities and spread the word, then we have more supporters and more people that are inclined to say, this is important, let's keep this up. So we didn't start because of the war, and we won't close when the war ends. Yes, it's always an issue. Raising funds is an issue of every nonprofit. I'm sure you know that. There are funds that are relevant for the businesses. There are loans, and then they get back. But at the end, we have our operations. We have risk cushions just in case the business will fall in order for us to be. There are lots of things that we're raising money for. But at the end, I believe that the cause and the need and the people that see it. I will say, for example, that JFNA, the Jewish Federations of North America, are huge supporters. And they managed to raise a lot of funds in order to help small businesses in Israel, not only in our realm, but also to us. And it's a huge help. So part of that money that is going out, it comes back. And when the money comes back, we can lend it to new businesses. Okay, so it's also important to know. So they're big philanthropic. They have the government that's helping with funds that we're also giving back. And they're also the microlenders that are helping out. So everyone is taking their share. And with that, like I said, the bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah kids, corporate companies, we're creating like a blended finance. And this is also something quite new in this field. How do you create this blended finance of different resources in order to not be dependent only on philanthropy?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, given that you said it's about 97% of our economy, we'll only hear more and only see our economy growing and thriving. Naama, or thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. This went back so quickly. Thank you so much.
You.